They say a dog that has no home will follow any stranger that offers it bones. And today, an African nation, not a Gulf state swimming in oil money, not a NATO member with treaties on the line, an African country has raised its hand and volunteered its soldiers to die in a Middle Eastern war that has absolutely nothing to do with Africa. You saw the headline, and before you form your opinion, I need you to sit down because this story goes far deeper than a social media post. This is about religion, power, colonized minds, and a continent that keeps paying the price for other people's wars. Uganda's Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the son of President Yoweri Museveni himself, went on social media this week and told the entire world that if anyone talks about defeating or destroying Israel, Uganda will enter the war on Israel's side. He then posted again saying Uganda's armed forces will begin participating in the conflict if it does not end soon. He deleted that post, but the words were already out. He then went further and revealed he had personally offered Uganda's military support to both the United States and Israel. Nobody asked him. Nobody invited him. Nobody needed him. He showed up uninvited and announced he was ready to bleed for a war his country has no stake in. Before you react, stay with me, because there is history here, and once you understand it, everything makes sense. Do me a favor and smash that like button right now so we can push this conversation to every African who needs to hear it. And if you are not subscribed, click that button and turn on the notification bell. Now let us get into the full story. The relationship between Uganda and Israel goes back to the 1960s. Israel built Uganda's roads, constructed airports, trained their military, supplied weapons, and embedded advisors. When Idi Amin came to power, his first foreign trip was to Israel. He had trained there. They even gave him a Hebrew name. Then Amin turned on Israel, expelled all Israeli nationals, and handed their embassy to the Palestine Liberation Organization. What followed became one of the most legendary military operations in history. In 1976, hijackers diverted a passenger jet to Entebbe Airport in Uganda. Over 100 Jewish and Israeli hostages were held. Idi Amin personally welcomed the hijackers. Israel responded by flying commandos over 4,000 kilometers into the heart of Africa and rescuing those hostages in a single night. The only Israeli soldier killed that night was the unit commander, Yonatan Netanyahu. Yes, the older brother of the current Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. That name should mean something to you. That one night sealed a bond between Uganda and Israel that has lasted decades. And just recently, Kainerugaba announced that Uganda will erect a statue of Yonatan Netanyahu at the very airport where he was killed. No parliamentary debate. No public vote. Just a social media post from an army chief pledging African soil to honor a foreign soldier. Now here is the part that should disturb every single person watching this. Because Kainerugaba did not just pledge military support, he gave a reason. And his reason is more dangerous than the pledge itself. He quoted the Bible. He quoted Deuteronomy. He invoked Jesus Christ. He framed Uganda's willingness to send soldiers into a Middle Eastern war as a Christian obligation, a matter of religious duty. And I need you to think about this very carefully. The people he is pledging to fight for do not share his faith. They do not accept the New Testament. They do not believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The very religion he is invoking as justification is a religion the people he wants to fight for fundamentally reject. So on what spiritual or logical basis is this war being volunteered for? A Bible verse that was brought to Africa by European missionaries is now being used to send African soldiers to die in a war between Iran and Israel. And while all of this is happening, fuel prices in Lagos have hit above $1 per liter, something never seen before in Nigerian history. Fertilizer shortages are threatening the 2026 planting season across the continent. The Strait of Hormuz being disrupted means less fuel, less food, and higher prices for every African family. Farmers across southern and eastern Africa cannot afford diesel for their tractors. But the son of Africa's longest-serving president is not talking about any of that. He is bragging about Uganda's GDP and using it as a reason to defend Israel. The actual GDP figure he cited, $100 billion, is closer to $55 billion in reality. But whether it is 55 or 100 billion, the question is the same. What happens to that number when Ugandan soldiers come home in body bags? What happens to Uganda's treasury when the cost of fighting someone else's war drains it completely dry? Here is what I want you to answer in the comments right now. When this war eventually ends, and it will end, do you believe Israel will send soldiers to defend Uganda? Do you think the United States will deploy Marines to protect Ugandan sovereignty? Do you think the people Kainerugaba is pledging to die for will even remember his name 6 months from now? And the bigger question, is religion truly the reason Uganda is volunteering for this war? Or is this simply a powerful man using a Bible verse to protect his domestic political position? Because standing with Israel and the United States makes you untouchable at home. Nobody questions your human rights record when you are fighting on the side of a Western war. Drop your full honest opinion in the comments below. Africa is watching this, and Africa deserves answers.